think when we get older, it gets harder to learn new skills. And I think in general, maybe this is specifically me, but like if I don't do something perfect the first time, it's very hard to keep going. And baking's just not going to be that. Making meatballs is not going to be that. My name's Jim Franks. I'm a baker and an author. I wrote this book called Existential Bread. It's different than a cookbook. I kind of pivoted to write more of like a bread philosophy book. It more so teaches you how to write a recipe rather than give you a recipe, so that you understand how to adapt and make all kinds of bread as opposed to one kind of bread.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do some calculations to figure out how much dough goes in the pan. Whole rice, 800.
I've always been a really neurotic person who has a lot of anxiety and fear. And I think I learned a long time ago that avoiding structure actually kind of helps me more than I thought. That I was like trying to learn how to plan when what I really needed to do was learn how to be free and adapt. I make bread exclusively with sourdough and with local grains and also with whole grains. Grain is 75% of agriculture in the world, so if you can make different choices when you buy flour or things that are made out of flour, which I think we do a lot more than we think of, we can actually probably make a pretty big difference, especially if we're making them ourselves.
I think we got about like 3 hours before that's ready to bake, but it's gonna be like ready to bake when it's ready to bake too, so I think if you wanna like go somewhere, we should go now. Great. You're just gonna keep filming me no matter what I do.
Yeah, you better get used to it.
We're gonna need to get releases for all these people. They would deep fry an egg, and they would deep fry a piece of salami, and they would deep fry a piece of cheese. I love the Pocari Sweat. It's supposed to have like B vitamins in it and stuff, but I think it's just a sugary drink. But I love it so much. This is where I almost get hit by a car every time I walk. It's funny, the CTA parent company that's like Pace and CTA and Metra. I was talking to this lady at a party because she works for them, and she was talking about this bridge is a big deal because there's somebody who keeps feeding the pigeons under here. And as a result, it's like really gross, and it's a really big problem at the various like train and bus stops. And they can't get this lady to stop. This lady has this like campaign of feeding the pigeons, and she just got classified as like a religion so that she's protected from being told to stop feeding the pigeons. Yeah, see all the pigeons? It's crazy, isn't it? I definitely like birds. I pay attention to birds, like when I walk around, birds and dogs and stuff, mostly ducks. But a pigeon, I'll take a pigeon now and then, you know. They're pretty dirty animals. Yeah. It can cause a lot of weird infections and stuff. Sure. Chickens and ducks. Ducks especially if they're in water, which they kind of should be because they'll eat the right things. Mm-hmm. That's why ducks shouldn't have bread.
That's right.
That's the whole thing. This is a candy factory. It's pretty old-fashioned candy. They also sell these really bomb-ass apple pies that are like baked in a brown paper bag kind of apple pies. And the crust is like rock candy. It's like so sugary, it's really good. Yeah. This is Pocari Sweat. Yeah, it's really good. Oh, they have the good butter now too. I mean, not the best, but not the worst either. Oh, that looks really good. Thank you. This like soup with the rolled up rice cakes is really good too. It's like a noodle soup, and then it also has dumplings in it. It's pretty intensely spicy and weird. Thank you. So So bulgogi is like rice and vegetables. Or no, sorry, you're bulgogi. This is bibimbap,
Yes, sir.
which just means stuff with rice. Do you want chopsticks?
Yes, please.
He would like go hang out with this kid like a couple times a week and take him places and stuff. He saved that kid's life. Kid jumped in a river. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's really great to cook. Oh, that's a bread guy. So German bread is actually like heavily regulated. If you want to like call something Einkorn bread, somebody's gonna come and check that there's the right amount of Einkorn in it. There's no like real grocery stores left. I don't know, I think this might be ready kind of sooner than later. It's hard to see. It'll get like really cracky and rise probably to the top though. Well, do you want a dozen eggs? Because I have way too many fucking eggs. I used to get burned all the time, and when I first started, especially baking here, because it's really impractical, like bending down. And the person I was dating was always like, I'm gonna get you like a full body oven mitt. Oh yeah, so the steam one looks fine too. Or the weird control, but yeah, so that's, you see how much gooier these are? And then they'll get a better crust after now. So that's pretty much it. I'm just releasing the steam. You'd have a vent to do that in a regular oven. A lot of people don't know this about Chicago. If something is smaller than a tennis ball, you can't recycle it because of the sorting machine itself. The no steam one really doesn't look that different, and maybe even a little better in a way. But maybe on the inside it's different. Maybe the crust is like way thicker. Oh yeah, but it seems like it did really well. It's a little soft, maybe. Is it hollow? Yeah. I think it's done.
There's a lot of stuff in cookbooks that's like, if you do it this way, this will happen. And my experience in life is that is almost never true. Most of like the technical people that I listen to that I think are actually like wrapping their heads around it are like, you can do all this stuff, but fundamentally it'll change, and we also don't really know what happens. Like there's all kinds of reasons why maybe you should or shouldn't refrigerate your starter, why you should use this flour or that flour, like why when you make a starter with sugar it's different than when you make a starter with salt or whatever. It's like there's so much stuff to it, but I think for most people to think about that, it's exhausting. So learning that you can just like relax and do it whatever way and see how that sparks adaptation and even creation and, you know, new and interesting things.
Should go to Russia.
Yeah.
I thought to go to Russia.
I don't know if legally I'm allowed to. But there might be bones in this.
And I think there's still a lot to like how you plan and when you plan it, what elements you can control, and figuring out like when you can at least pretend like you can control some things in order to like have a better outcome, but mostly just how like letting go makes a better life, makes a better loaf.